Lead me, oh Lord, won't you lead me? Oh, lead me, oh Lord, won't you lead me? Oh, lead me, oh Lord, won't you lead me? If you lead me, I'll be able to stand. Good morning, beautiful people. Oh Lord, I'm your child. Won't you lead me? I said, oh, I'm your child. Won't you lead me? If y'all can hear me, let me know. I said, oh Lord, I'm your child. Won't you just lead me every day, Lord? If you lead me, I'll be able to stand. Oh Lord, I'm in trouble. Won't you lead me? I said, oh Lord, your child in trouble. Won't you just leave me? Good morning. Good, thank you. Pray for me. I said, oh Lord, your child is in trouble. Won't you leave me every day, Lord? If you leave me, I'll be able to stand. Well, good morning, beautiful people. It's your girl, Bev. I am starting another Flower Bev show this morning on Saturday, June the 11th. I cannot believe we are already on the 11th day of June. Like we're already halfway through the year, which to me the year kind of went by fast, but it's kind of going by slow at the same time. It seems like we still have forever to go, but at the same time, I know once we reach like July, August, it's a done deal. It's a done deal. It's a really beautiful day here in Durham, North Carolina. I can see the sun shine a little bit, and it's just a good day to be alive. I'm really grateful just for life, health, and strength, and just for being able to wake up with my right mind, and just to be able to start another day. Even though every day is not always the best day, I thank God for allowing me to be able to be a part of these days. Because in those days that are not as good, I thank Him for giving me the mindset to at least try to find something that has been good throughout that day. And so it's this statement my dad always, I've heard my dad say, and it's always stuck with me. No matter how cloudy it is outside, somewhere the sun is still shining above the clouds. He would say that, should I say, and it always stuck with me. So even in our worst days, even when the days just don't seem to be the most beautiful to us, the sun is still shining, meaning that we still have a reason to be grateful and thankful for something. And just the fact that we're alive to be able to even have any type of day is still a blessing within itself, because I'm sure no one in their right mind would want to leave, family and friends behind, and want to leave this life, period. So it's just a really good opportunity to be able to just breathe in the fresh air, wherever you may be. Even though gas prices are extremely high, I think they went up 30 cents in like a week. I was like, now the last time I came to this gas station, it was $4.30 whatever, and now it's $4.60 something or something like that. I'm just like, wow, okay. But I try my best not to even focus on those things. I just am thankful that I'm still able to have the money to fill my gas tank up. And no, I still do not look at the amount of money I spend on gas. I don't. I just pump it and I turn my head and look in the other direction. So that's just my way of basically just knowing that I got to do something to um, just continue to go forward in life, even though things are just out of hand financially as far as what we have to spend money on. But today I wanted to talk to y'all about things that we have done differently, or that you have done differently since the pandemic has started. And I know that we're technically out, we're not 100% out of the pandemic, because people are still getting sick. Mask mandates have been lifted and things like that. But I just look at my life and how before the pandemic I was doing certain things, and then as soon as the pandemic hit, it's kind of like not only did the world shut down, but I think my world, changed, and my world kind of shut down. And I think it allowed everybody to have um, the opportunity to do self evaluations. And I know we talked about that last week about the mid year evaluation, but I'm talking about just things differently that I have done, that I have seen in myself, that I have seen myself grow in, things that I have seen myself change in, things that I have seen myself do differently. It's not always easy to take the time out sometimes, because life can get so busy and get so crazy that you don't always have the time to really acknowledge those things that you need to do differently, or things that you no longer do that you need to do again, or the things that you are doing that you need to stop doing. So I think when the pandemic hit, I think everyone, just by reading the statuses and just by, having certain conversations with certain people, I was able to see that everybody, it's kind of weird how a shutdown and how a slowdown can allow everybody to reflect, and can allow everybody to realize what changes needed to be made, and what things are important and what things are not important, and what things they needed to continue doing, and what things they need to stop doing. And I think it's been, although it's been unfortunate, because so many lives were lost, so many people were sick, so many people, and I've had COVID twice, and I thank God that I'm still able to be able to talk, and still able to, have my right mind, and still here to be able to do the Flower Bell Show, or to do anything for that matter. Um, so many bad things have transpired in the life of many people, but the good news is that we were allowed to still be able to check ourselves, and start back doing family things, or start back checking in on those that maybe we have forgotten about, or slow down on checking on people, because maybe we were the ones that needed to take a step back and to examine ourselves and to take care of ourselves more. And I think for me, good morning, those of y'all that are coming in and going out. I'm just talking about things that have changed since the pandemic within ourselves, within our own worlds. And I know for me, and I've mentioned this before, I was always the type of person to reach out to a lot of people. I was always the type of person to, it didn't matter if I hadn't talked to them in like 3 months or 3 weeks or whatever. I would be that person that be like, let me check on them. Hey, how you doing? You doing all right? How's everything going? And just being a extroverted person that I am, and it's not even an extroverted thing. It's just a caring thing, because just because you're introverted don't mean you don't care. I was always the type of person to reach out to other people all the time, reach out to them first and ask them how they're doing, and, see how everything is going in their lives. And I also realized that when you don't get that same thing in return, it's kind of you don't ever want to stop doing good. So let me make sure I make that plain. I don't want to ever stop doing good. But there are times when, your good could be put towards something else because it's not really useful in another situation. And that might sound crazy, but if you're going above and beyond and doing all these things, and you realizing that it's a statement that people say, people make time for what they want to make time for. And I wanted to, even hear back on that, because people can say, oh, well, you're really not that important to that person if you always got to reach out to them. And that's not necessarily always true, because somebody could be important to me, but I could be dealing with something that is refraining me from actually reaching out to people, and I'm actually just taking time for myself. So to somebody, I may seem like I don't care about them because I'm not going that route by checking up on them and things like that. But, it could be a lot of other things that's going on within me that I'm not really speaking on, that may look like I have myself together. So I don't look like I care about them because I'm not reaching out to them. But I could really be balancing internal turmoil that I don't speak of, that is keeping me from being that, reaching out person. Um, so my thing of the matter is that statement sometimes can be true, and that statement could also be an assumption of truth. Like, it can be an assumption that people aren't making time for you because they really don't care. No, they do care, and there are other ways to care about people rather than just reaching out, even though that does make a difference. But what I was trying to state earlier was that I used to be the person that would reach out all the time, all the time, all the time, and you don't get that return all the time. And here it is, you're reaching out to the same person, and then you realize nobody ever reaches out to you. So it's kind of like, okay, or that person doesn't ever reach out to you, and you're trying to figure out, like, okay, well, maybe, they're going through a lot and they're not really able to give me that same energy back. But if you're doing something to get something back, then you're not doing it with the right mindset either. But as I begin to just examine things and examine how I did things and examine why I did things, it allowed me to take a step back to say, okay, why am I reaching out? Am I reaching out because I actually really do care, which I normally do? Or am I reaching out just to maintain that relationship? Or am I reaching out because, I want them to know that somebody cares about them? And so it was, all of the above. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, well, all right, well, let's just, focus on me more so than other people versus texting them. I pray for them. If they when they come across my mind, I'll pray for them and ask God to help them and have mercy on them. But at the same time, I'm gonna take some time out to work on me and to focus on me and the things that make me happy. And then as time go on, you realize you haven't reached out to that person in a long time, and that person has never reached out to you. Like, time flies by and there's no reach out. And so it does make you question whether or not you are important to that person as much as they are important to you. Um, so I think I just examined myself and why I did things and what was my reasoning for doing things and whether or not that was a good thing for me to do. Um, so I think it's just a moment of me examining myself, taking time out more for me, but at the same time trying to figure out where was my place in this world. So that was something that I did differently too. When the pandemic hit, I started trying to figure out where my place was in the world. What were the things that I could bring to this world, even to my world or to those that were around me. What could I bring more, and what was I bringing, and what could I do differently? And so it was a time for me to really just say, okay, if I'm going to bring anything to anybody, I want it to be something positive. I want it to be something that'll last long. You can take somebody out to eat and they'll remember how good the food tastes, but I mean, that's just about it. But if I can give you words of encouragement, and I think that's what pushed me to do the Flower Bev show even more, because I was like, man, I want to give people something that they can always cherish, something they can remember, something that they can take with them and give to somebody else if need be. And I think that's one of the things that really helped me during the pandemic too, because even I needed positivity in my life and in my world. And I think right before the pandemic hit, I wasn't really getting that much positivity from a lot of things in my world. And just being able to think, well, what can I do to share those experiences? Because not only did I want to do the Flower Bev show to give positivity, but even to receive it. Because when you're talking with people and having a conversation with people, they can give you things as well too to aid in your life, and you never know where that's going to come from. So me um opening up these subjects, opening up these different topics to be able to get people to talk, that only not only helped them, but it also helped me. And I've had many people write me in my inbox since I started this show, and they've been telling me like, "Bev, your shows have really been helping me. They've really been getting me through it." And I've seen people post, "I'm catching up on the Flower Bev show," and they tag me in it, and things like that really make me happy because I never want my giving to people to be pointless. I never want my words to be irrelevant to people. And sometimes they may not be able to use what you are telling them now, but in the future, God willing, they'll be able to use those things as well. So as the pandemic went on, it kept hitting me like, man, this is the time that I really think I could start a platform to be able to give positivity to the world in a way that I've never done it before. Like I can post a status, and people can comment on the statuses, but to have conversation, to look at the comments and to respond to the comments and to have the comments to touch me as well as my comments possibly hopefully touching someone else. I thought it was something that I wanted to do differently. So just thinking about how I was able to talk at a sisters meeting in the UK, and how I was able to talk on mental health and depression and anxiety and suicide, basically. That really warmed my heart because that was the beginning of the year where I was able to start opening up, those moments to be able to have another platform outside of this. So, and then to be able to be booked for another event in September, God willing, I'm really excited about that because it really allows me to be able to shed more of what it is that I have. The pandemic has also taught me to, value people more in a sense of, just taking the time out to see more of what people have done for me and to be more appreciative and to let things go. The pandemic has taught me that too, because, by God's permission, of course, like just that time to reflect and to think, on the things that I needed. And there were things, good morning, beautiful people, those are you that are joining in. I'm just talking about the things that we have done differently, that I have done differently since the pandemic has started. And what it has allowed me to be able to reflect on and things like that. So feel free to chime in some things that you have done differently since the pandemic has started. We're technically not done with it yet. So we're still in it. Some things that we are doing differently. And so I just, began to think about how I began to examine maybe some treatment that I was received, and, just really paying attention to people, and how they treat me, not to be mad with them, but to really figure out how mature I am, to really be real and brutally honest with myself. What am I truly about? What am I truly here for? I know why I'm here, on earth. I know that for a fact, that's God has me here for Him, for His purpose. But at the same time, what else am I supposed to be doing while I'm here for that? Um, and just looking at how people have treated me and how I treat people, because although, a lot of y'all see the nice side of Bev, there is a side of Bev that some people do see based off of their treatment towards me. And I know that I have to work on, you know, my response to people. So just seeing how the pandemic has allowed me to slow down and to really comb over things in my life with a fine tooth comb, so to speak, and just being able to acknowledge what is going on in my world and how can I fix anything that needs to be fixed, and how can I let go of the things that need to be let go of, and how I can really truly channel those strengths in me, and also point out the weaknesses in me and accept the flaws in me, and understand that even though I am flawed, I'm still beautiful in all the ways that I know to be beautiful in, and the ways that I have yet to figure out more beauty within, because I do believe that beauty lies within and it spreads outwardly. Because you can have the most prettiest face, but if your inner being is not beautiful based off of your character and your behavior towards people, then you really truly don't begin to know what beauty really is. So I do believe that the beauty that's within me is what God has placed in me to give to other people, and that alone shines outwardly. Um, so I begin to see, what type of person am I? How do I think? How mature am I really? What have I been doing all this time? What have I been hiding behind all this time? What have I been, you know, trying to uphold that I don't really have to uphold anymore? I don't have to uphold this standard for people, of what I should be like. I should be like this, so I got to uphold this standard. Like, no, Bev, just be your imperfect self. Because even in being yourself, there's so much beauty in that. And when you really truly embrace who you are and you embrace your flaws, you embrace what could be said about you, even though it may not even be said or thought about, it's like, okay, people gonna talk. So what? Let them talk. They don't know you. Because one thing that keeps coming back to my mind, you don't truly know a person until you know the heart of a person. And if people don't really truly know my heart, then how can they say anything about me is accurate information? You know, they could be holding me to something that I did. They could be holding me to something that I said. They could be holding me to something that they thought I said or thought I did or heard I said or heard I did. But if they don't know the intent of my heart, then they truly don't know who I am. And in that, I begin to find consolation during this pandemic. It has not always been easy. Um, Me being a person of perfectionism, I'm a perfectionist in a lot of things, and I hate making mistakes. I have never been the type of person to handle making mistakes well. I've actually been the type of person that, depending upon where I make the mistakes or who I make the mistake in front of, it will affect the way I view myself, and it will affect how much I show love to myself. And this is just a vulnerable moment. And during the pandemic, I have slowly begun to be able to embrace the fact, Bev, you're going to make mistakes. And it's not that I haven't embraced it before. It's like I would embrace it on certain levels. If I make mistakes by myself and or if I make mistakes with someone one on one, or I treat someone in a way that I shouldn't, and I go back and I apologize, I can embrace that mistake. But if it's something that I feel like I shouldn't have done and it goes in a place where I just don't know how to take it, then I have to really look at myself and say, Bev, like, who said you were perfect? Who said you were perfect, and who said that you were always going to do the things that you know to do and do them well all the time? You're going to mess up, but it doesn't matter what anyone views you, how anyone views you. What matters is what you get right with God, what you get right with the person that you have messed up with, if you messed up with someone, and what you get right within yourself after, because you have always got to forgive yourself for what you do wrong as well. You can ask someone else to forgive you, but if you haven't even forgiven yourself, then that's something that you're going to hold against yourself too. Oh, hi, Esther. And Esther says, I agree. There is so much beauty in the natural, organic self. Exactly. And I feel like I'm really starting to really, truly embrace me, like in all my imperfections and all my mistakes and all the things that I may have, tried to shun because I didn't want that to be me. I'm like, Beth, it's you. Like, this is you, and you got some work to do. And it's okay that it's you. If anybody look at you and treat you differently because of the mistakes that you have made, or that they've heard that you might have made or heard that you did make, that's on them. Who you are as a person is not defined by people's views of you. Like, your reputation is not who you are, it's what people say you are. Even if, okay, that might have been true at that moment, what they might have said or what they might be thinking. But I don't always go off of reputations, because somebody could have a reputation to be a very mean and nasty person, and then I meet that person and they're like really nice to me, and I've never had a run in with them. Never. And I can't tell you how many times people have told me about someone and said they were like this and they were like that, but I don't even go off of that. And when I meet that person, I don't even think about those things. I really truly just get to know them for myself. And when I do, I find out that they're not who that person said they was. That must have been their experience with them, or they are that person, but they don't treat me that way. I see them treating other people that way, but they don't treat me the way that they said. So I just It's a growing process. It's a maturing process. It's a process that you have to really truly embrace who you are, and just dealing, being at home, and just taking my time, and just learning what it truly means to be myself and to value being myself. I've always been the type of person that loved being myself, and I've always been the type of person that loved to be around people that love to be themselves. I never ever want to be around people that find it easy to um, just put on because they're around people. I never like to be around people like that. And you can always tell when they're just putting on or just trying to fit in, so to speak. And I hate that. And I always want people to be themselves, no matter how crazy it may be. There are some people that I'm around that people probably don't even like. Why should you around them? I'm telling you, I love it when people can be themselves. It doesn't matter how many people say, that's a little strange. They're a little strange. I don't care. Like, I love when people are themselves, no matter how crazy they may be. And I always tell this my coworkers anytime we had patients that weren't, you know, always the best people to deal with because of their mentality and stuff like that. They would always say, Bev, can you please handle this patient because they're a little bit. And I loved it. I love the patients that don't seem to be all the way there, but they actually don't care what people think. They're just themselves. And I love being around people like that. It's not easy to be yourself in this world that's telling you how you should be. I'm not saying that you have to go out here and do anything crazy and say, I'm just being myself. But I'm saying, like, just being your natural, authentic, flawed self, and just allow that to be something that nobody can take away from you. So the pandemic has really just given me time to just sit with that. Hi, Sister Sam. How are you? That's my vintage girl. How you doing? um, I think it's a beautiful thing. So the pandemic has allowed me to sit with me, and I've written a little bit more too. I've started writing. Every now and then I'm writing. I've actually started going to the gym, and I'm trying to hang in there and continuously go. It was funny because my niece and my nephew were here yesterday, and I was like, all right, y'all, I'll be back. And they was like, where you going? I was like, I'm going to the gym. My niece said, when you start going to the gym? Because I'm not a gym person, and I honestly don't like going to the gym alone. But I actually um, have been going. I started last week, and I went 2 times already this week. So I think it's a really good thing for me to be able to experience um, going to the gym and not, worrying about going with anybody else. Just having fun for myself and doing something to, help myself, mentally and emotionally and spiritually. And that's important to me. It's really important to me to be that way. And I'm just grateful, just for, sorry, my phone is acting up over here. I'm just looking at my phone. But I'm just grateful for the pandemic. And that this is probably not going to be a long show today, probably about 30 minutes, if so, if not a little bit more. But it's just the fact of just being able to, good morning, Sadawanika. Um, I'm just in here talking about things that we have done differently since the pandemic. And y'all can feel free to chime in whenever you would like. Something that you started doing that you weren't doing before, or something that you stopped doing that you were doing before the pandemic. Just another catch up on the pandemic and the effects it has had on us. And oh, let me see. She said, I'm doing great, love. I would also mention that, yes, I can be myself. However, I'm learning to choose wisely who to completely be myself around. Right. I'm learning boundaries. What do you think? Absolutely. That's the important thing. I've actually am learning the exact same lesson, boundaries. I've always been the type of person to actually pay attention to who I can be myself with, because I understand that not everybody, and you can learn that very fast. If you look at the responses by people's faces, people's eyes, they tell a lot that their mouth will never say because they don't want to offend you, but their eyes are the light of their body. And I've learned a long time ago that when I start being myself and I'm having fun, and I can look at somebody and they just looking like, oh gosh, like, yeah, huh. It's like they give you that fake laugh, or they give you that okay, then you got to be like, okay, yeah, I see right now I can't be myself with this person, so I won't be hanging around you long. Like that. That's just my thing. That's just my thing. I never want to be around people that I can't be myself with. But I've also learned to still be myself with people that don't like it and understand that they can't change me, and let them see they won't change me, that their lack of acceptance for who I truly am will not stop me from being me. And that's another thing that I have learned too. Like, yeah, I can choose to distance myself if I want to, but I don't have to. I can still be myself, whether you like it or not. And that's just going to be your personal problem because I'm still going to be me. So that's another thing. So Sam says, exactly. Esther said, I started spending more time with my sister. It's awesome. Um, I think it's been the opposite. I think since no, actually, on the pandemic, me and my sisters, we started having Zoom meetings, and we were like zooming and catching up and talking and things like that, where we just wanted to check up on each other and have conversations, and we would talk until the Zoom ended. So that will be our thing, you know. We don't do that as much anymore because we're actually able to see each other more now. Since I moved back down here, I'm able to see my sisters a lot more than when I was up north, even though Destiny's up there and I do miss seeing her face too. But at least I'm able to still, you know, we still have our group chats and stuff like that. Let's see. As far as I don't know, like as y'all can see, I have those poster. I have a poster board. I have two actually. I'm doing a vision board. I'm doing two different vision boards. I have something, a project that I'm working on, something I'm getting ready to start up that I'm excited about, and then also I'm going to do a vision board on the Flower Beth show and where I want to see this take me. And I definitely don't want to stay in the United States with this. I want to go abroad. I want to go to different places where I can actually speak in person, instead of being on Zoom. Just actually go in person and speak, you know, and talk, and let's talk about certain subjects and let's talk about certain things. So my desires have increased for what it is that I would like to do, you know, as a businesswoman, as an entrepreneur. And I'm grateful for that. And my ideas are just popping in my head. So I'm very, very grateful, you guys. And um, just this time in our lives is just very critical because while we're slowing down, you know, this is the time to catch up on things we need to catch up on, slow down on things we need to slow down on, and at the same time, embrace those things that are present. You know, I think another thing is I had to learn to stay present, you know, and I actually know I had to do the opposite. When the pandemic hit, you know, before the pandemic hit, I don't even know where my headspace was. I can't even remember. But I felt like it was just all over the place. And then I just had to remember to stay present and to get creative and do things with my hands and do things that make me laugh and things that make me have fun and all those beautiful things. And I just feel like, you know, I've been trying to do my hair a lot more since the pandemic started, even though it looks a little crazy today. I did twist it, but you know, it ain't gonna hold. But it's just a matter of really tuning into myself and really taking the time for myself and really enjoying myself and those that really truly add value to my world. I begin to really think about that and just, you know, taking time out for me. I mean, me going to the gym says a lot because I was not a gym person. Was not a gym person. Let me see. So the Dominique said, honestly, the pandemic made me tap into skills I possessed but weren't using. A lot of good has come. Exactly. And I think that's the beauty of it, you know, just allowing us to get back to the things that we needed to do. And me, like, I love to design and things like that. And, you know, I do, it's kind of crazy because I do love fashion, but I don't love today's fashion. So there's some things that I've been dabbling in that I haven't spoken about just yet because don't worry, God willing, is coming, is coming, is coming. But there are just some things that, you know, I just really been just channeling within myself, you know, just trying to take care of me more. And really, if I'm going to reach out to anybody, I'm reaching out to those that I can lend a helping hand to and to those that I can have a good time with and not worry about anything else, you know, and just be myself with. So that's what I've been focusing on. You know, if I feel like there is something or someone, this is the God honest truth. If somebody asks me to go somewhere, I've never been the type of person to ask, well, who's going as much. And I have been asking that for so long since the pandemic, who's going? Okay, no, I'm good. I pass. I'm good. Like if I hear about one person that I really just I'm good. Like that's just me. And I'm just like, Bev, you've never been this type of person. You've always been the type of person to be like, okay, let's go. Doesn't matter who's going. I don't even care. But for some reason, just things that have transpired, I've just been, like Sister Sam said, setting boundaries. Just trying to keep myself protected from certain atmospheres, certain environments, just certain things, certain conversations, certain things that don't involve me, trying my best not to involve myself. When I need to be quiet, just choosing to be quiet. When I need to listen, just listening with the intent to understand, not the intent to respond. Um, and just challenging myself. You know, I don't think I've ever been this relaxed as myself before. I don't think I've ever really truly been this comfortable with being myself before. And I mean, I've slowed down on a lot of stuff, y'all. Like, I mean, things that I just was so like, go, 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 go. And now I'm finding my own routine. I'm finding another routine for myself, another routine. I'm getting another routine for myself. And I think it's very wise to examine what you have done and what you are doing and what's the better step to take for yourself. And I think once you do that, then and only then can you truly help other people, find a routine. And it doesn't mean that you're going to have everything mastered before you help, because sometimes as you go, as you rise, you want people to rise with you. So you help them along the way as you're helping yourself. And I think that's so important. Good morning, beautiful people. We're just having a chit chat today for those of y'all that want to chime in on things that we have done differently since the pandemic has started. Things that we have stopped doing, things that we are continuing to do, or things that we started doing since the pandemic has started that has really helped in our lives and in our worlds. So feel free to, write your comments or say good morning too. That'll help me too. But the pandemic has really been a blessing in disguise for a lot of people. I've been working at home. I've never thought I would work at home. And I'm actually okay with working at home, but I'm really not ecstatic about it. Like, I'm really not excited about it. But I do love going into the office. The pandemic, I have been quiet on the job. I have not talked much. I was at first when I first got my job down here in at Duke, but then I've been so quiet. And I've talked to my coworker yesterday, and I was telling her, I was like, I really just been staying to myself because that's just how I feel. Like, I really don't, I've been seeing stuff that's been going on, but I just want to stay to me. And I used to always be the person, yeah, y'all, blah, blah, blah. We're gonna have this, we're gonna have that. And I don't, I'm not there for it anymore. I'm just coming to work. And I'm doing my job, and I'm doing what I can, and people come to me and ask me for help, and I help them, and I, sure, absolutely. And then I walk away from it, and I'm just like, okay, back into my own little square again. And that's different for me, very different for me, very different. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful to just be able to just go to work and not feel like I have to be a part of the crowd or the conversation. I can take a step back and be okay. And there was a time in my life where I wouldn't feel that way. I wouldn't feel like I was okay to be silent. I would feel like, girl, what's wrong with you? Like, I would always want to be the life of the party. That was just me. And I never forget, Destiny told me one time, she said, you used to be like the life of the party. She's like, now you just life. Now you just have life. And I'm just like, wow, like that is so true. Like, I can truly say that. Like, I really used to be the life of the party. And now, if there is a party, I'm trying to figure out who's there because I may not even want to go. So the pandemic has really slowed me down. And I feel like it has allowed me to mature in certain ways, and it has allowed me to see my immaturity. It has allowed me to see my growth and my failures, my imperfections and my perfections, my flaws as well as my strengths as well as my weaknesses. Um, and like I was saying earlier, like, I love that. I love that. I love me, even though I'm flawed. And I think this is the most I've ever truly can say I really love myself. And I think it was because I had the opportunity to slow down and to acknowledge those things that maybe I didn't take the time out for before. So the pandemic has really truly been a blessing for me, and I know that for my coworkers, they have still been going through a lot, or they've been happy about different things, and just it's just been a lot um, that family members been going through. So many people have been, passing away, being killed, just this week, or it's we found out, or last weekend found out that someone was killed that I knew of, and it's sad, it's really sad to hear these things, and the pandemic has really truly brought out a lot of evil, but it also has brought out a lot of good too. So if you haven't begun to really take advantage of this time, maybe it's because you don't have the time, because people are still moving like the life of them has never stopped. Um, and I understand that. I've worked in the medical field, and I have not been a day without work since the pandemic. I have still been at work since the day of the pandemic started. I did not shut down, none of that. Teachers have still been going, banks have still been open, like people have still been going regardless. Um, but the bottom line is, it has been a lot, on everyone. And I think that this is the time that we need to take advantage of. Take a day. Now I take a day off every month, a day off. And this month, I think I had more than one day off. I had off last week because I got sick last week. So I took off. I left work early on Thursday and was off on Friday. And then I took off next Friday, Lord willing, so that I could be able to do some things for myself. I've been made up in my mind I'm going to take a day off every month. And I said that earlier on in my show, but not today, but previous shows. But I made up in my mind I was going to do what I needed to do for myself, because I'm important. I'm definitely important. And I mean a lot to me. And I have to focus on that. And that was one thing that I had to work on too, being important to myself. And I have become important to myself since the pandemic started. So my eating habits were always pretty good. I'm not really a terrible eater, because I don't really eat a lot anyway. And I eat the same foods, salmon, shrimp, rice, veggies. I do eat fried foods too. I eat like fast food sometimes. I ain't gonna lie. I love Bojangles. Thank God for the South. Even though they do have a couple Bojangles in Pennsylvania. I think they had one in Reading, Pennsylvania. But it's just a matter of really taking care of yourself, really doing what you got to do for you so that you can do better towards other people. This may not be a really good pinpointing, what should I say, impactful broadcast today. But I'm definitely, oh, I also want to know, um, for those that want to be able to be on the show talking about um, introvert versus extrovert, and I think it's omnivert. Please put it in the comment section that you wouldn't mind, because I think I can add up to like 10 people. I think. Let me see. Hi, Sister Joanna. Yes, I really have been seeing myself during this time. My flaws, insecurities, self-righteous ways, triggers, all the above. Yet in the midst, learning to love myself properly. Exactly, exactly, and that's what's really important. What I love is that you share the before and after. Coming to be comfortable being you is not easy. What would you say to someone who is still on the journey? I would say keep going. Keep going. Like, how can I say it? In every atmosphere, observe yourself. If you're in an atmosphere that you're comfortable with, observe what you do, observe how you are, observe what you say, what you think, what you feel. When you're in an atmosphere that you're not as comfortable with, observe yourself. What do you do? And compare. Okay, so all right, when I'm not that comfortable, I do this. When I am comfortable, I do this. So what can I do in the moments when I'm uncomfortable that will channel me being comfortable? That way I won't change up for this atmosphere. I'll stay the same. I'll stay the same. So I think that you really have to look at yourself in every atmosphere you go in, observe yourself, and say, when am I my most self? And what type of people are around me when I'm my most self? when I'm truly who I am and leaning more towards being comfortable around, who am I around when I am my full complete self? And if it's just you, then you got to ask yourself, okay, what am I closing off when I'm around other people? And then you got to see what you're closing off, because I get it. Everybody doesn't deserve all of you. There are parts of me that everybody does not see. I'm sorry, I'll be trying to fix my glasses. I don't be understanding. I need some new ones because these things just look. If y'all only knew, they hanging on by a thread. But I really just observe, who I am and what am I closing off when I'm around certain people, and I have to ask myself why, because there's a reason. Sometimes I'm an extrovert and I'm very friendly, and this is just me giving an example. There are people, like, I'm friendly, but I don't want people to take that the wrong way. For instance, I don't want men to take my kindness or my friendliness for flirtation. So there is a way that I must present myself. And within my heart and my mind, my intents are a certain thing. So if they pick up on a certain thing and they think it's something, at least I know within myself I wasn't presenting that. That's just what they perceived it to be. So there's a certain way I present myself. Um, Even with authority figures, although I know that, I shouldn't esteem them higher than nobody else, but there's a certain way I present myself, like my father. I'm not going to present myself in any type of way, to my father. And if I do, I joke around or something like that, but like that, I'm so sorry. But there's a certain way to do certain things. And, with my father, even in joking, even in certain things. So doesn't mean that I can definitely be myself with my dad. But there are certain ways I have to present myself to him that don't show disrespect or anything like that, because my dad is very old school, but at the same time, he still has a good sense of humor, but I still have to present myself in a certain way. So, in all of that, I'm saying, look at yourself. What are you doing when you're around people that you're comfortable with? And you got to try to keep that up. Even when you're around people that make you feel uncomfortable, you got to ask yourself why. No one should make you feel intimidated or feel like you're less than or anything like that because of who they are. You have to really check yourself and really say to yourself, you know what? I should never be intimidated by anybody. They are who they are. I am who I am. They're not more than me. I'm not less than them. So you got to channel all these different thoughts, and you got to say to yourself, we're all on one sheet right here. I don't care if they're rich. I don't care if they're poor. We're all on one sheet of paper. Nobody's in a higher level, maybe in a higher paying bracket, maybe in a better neighborhood, maybe in a worse neighborhood, maybe in a box, maybe living outside underneath the bridge, but they are still, equal to me as far as in the eyesight of, what I'm seeing. Like nobody's better than me. I'm not better than them. Oh, thank you, Esther. So I think it's just a matter of just recognizing when you're comfortable and trying to repeat that everywhere you go. What makes you comfortable? Who makes you comfortable? There's this video that I saw on Instagram that says you want to be around people that are happy to see you. You don't want to be around people that when you see them, they're like, oh, hey, how you doing? But they're like, hey, how you doing? Like they give you a certain energy. People like that you want to be around, because those people make life worthwhile. Like they make life worth living when someone's excited to see you, excited to have you in their world, excited to be in your presence, things like that. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes they're not going to be that excited because they may have stuff going on. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure that when you see yourself being comfortable, you have to test it. And I test people. I say something out of the, I say something a little crazy to see how people are going to respond. I do that on purpose. I say something crazy to see how people are going to respond, because I know what I would say if I wasn't in front of them. So I say something crazy, see how they're going to respond. And then they respond in a way where they're busting out laughing because they know it was crazy and I'm crazy. Then I'm like, okay, good. I can be crazy around them. They don't mind it. But if I say something crazy and they just like, oh, okay, yes, you're a little weird. And I'm like, okay, I'll bump you, because I'm telling you right now, I ain't got time for it. I be trying to calm down my excitement. Don't calm down your excitement. People are not gonna always appreciate excitement. They're not gonna always appreciate it. They're gonna look at it like, okay, she's doing a little too much. Some people, not everybody. Some people love that excitement, no matter how much they may not look like it. Some people love it because it makes them feel special. It makes them feel like, oh my gosh, she's actually excited to see me, and I'm glad for that. Some people may be overwhelmed by it, but you can't worry about them. You have to just be you, and that doesn't mean you have to stand there and yell and hoot and holler and blah, 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 jump around, and make them feel so uncomfortable to the point they walk away. But you still have to be yourself, and you still have to show them, like, this is who I am, and if they adjust to it, they adjust to it. They will learn, um, they will learn to adjust to that in the most healthiest way. But you got to be consistent. Y'all know I'm a tad crazy. So am I. I don't think I'm a tad. I'm a lot crazy. But the bottom line is people will learn to adjust to your character as long as you're consistent. You have to be consistent. You can't be inconsistent. You can't be, I'm happy one day and then the next time I see you, I'm just like, dang. Now, if you're going through something, that's one thing. But if you're like, they can never keep up with who you are as a person because you're always doing something different, then of course that's going to be confusing to them. But if you are truly yourself at all times and you are truly who you're going to be, regardless of whether people appreciate it or whether they reject it, then they will learn to accept that. Don't apologize for being yourself. Never, ever, ever, ever apologize for being yourself. So that's a lot that I've had to say about that, Sister Dominica, because I really do believe in people um, be themselves. See, I love when people are animated. Somebody told me I was animated. It was like, you are so animated. I love it. And I was just like, I didn't really know what that meant. What does animated mean? Like, when I think animated, I think like cartoon character. Like, you're a fool, basically. That's how I feel. So, Esther, enlighten me. What does it mean to be animated? You don't see my dirty floor yet. I need a vacuum in here. What does it mean to be animated? Expound on that a little bit more. Explain more what it means to be animated. Over the top, super duper fun. I don't know. But I will say, like, you just gotta really, truly just try to be consistently yourself. Whether that's being quiet, whether that's being silly, whether that's being friendly, whether that's being reserved, whatever that is, figure out who you are and then be comfortable in that and let everybody else adjust to it. Let the chips fall where they may. It's something that I used to say all the time. Let the chips fall where they may. It feels good to be crazy with people. That's why I say I be testing people to see if they're going to do it. Sister Sam says, animated, full of energy. What I am learning is to be yourself always and let the right people appreciate you. Exactly. Because the right people will appreciate you for being yourself. And even if somebody is having a hard time embracing who you are, ooh, I love it. Just being myself, even though they can't stand it. Ooh, that just drives me just be Bev even more. Just be Bev even more. They don't like it, but it doesn't matter. Like, that's me. I'm like, oh, they don't like the fact that I'm this way. I don't care. That's you. Hey, y'all. How y'all doing? Y'all doing all right? It's good to see y'all. Give me some hugs. Give me love. Blah, blah, blah. All right. Bye. Then. She get on my nerves. Me. Woo. Well, that's just me. I don't care. I don't care. Be mad all you wants to. Bev is gonna be Bev. Definitely gonna be Bev. But as soon as Esther tells me her definition as well, because I like Sam's definition too. Full of energy, animated, full of energy. Definitely full of energy. My energy has calmed down though. I have calmed down. I've been a little bit more reserved since the pandemic. I think a lot of things in life has humbled me a little bit more too. So I think that's what has allowed me to be a little bit more calm, cool, and collective. But I have noticed my crazy turning up a little bit. Depends on who I'm around. But as soon as Esther lets me know of her definition of animated, if she hears me, she probably does though. But then I'm gonna call it a day because I've been having so much stuff to do lately, y'all. I'm sad I can't stay on as much as I want. But I do have another topic coming up. I'm also going to reach out to Brother Bill again, and we're going to set a date for round two, part two of racism and things like that. I definitely want to get with him about that so we can set another date. And I want to make sure I'm keeping you all up to date on things. So hopefully one of these days I'll be able to have shirts and stuff available. I got to work on that too, finish that up. So I'm definitely excited about that. Um, Esther, if you're gonna write, let me know. If not, then I'm gonna close it out. Oh, she says she's driving. You driving and you trying to write. I hope you wrote them comments at a red light. Can't say it all. Okay, well maybe next time. All right. Well, I'm going to come to an end today. I thought it was going to be like a short show, but it was almost an hour still. Thank y'all for joining me today. I'm going to do my song and I'm going to head out because I have to go in a few. Um, oh, may God be with you. Oh, may God be with you. Oh, may God be with you till we meet again. Oh, may God be with you. Oh, may God be with you. Oh, may God be with you till we meet again. Yay! Thank y'all so much for joining me. And Esther says, extra exciting, bubbly, goofy. Yeah, that's me. When I want to be. All right, you guys, y'all take care. Have a great, wonderful, super duper awesome weekend. I love y'all. Thank y'all for joining me. God willing, I will see y'all again on the next Fly with Bev show. Bye.